Last night, the forest shook beneath the storm. Rain tapped against every leaf. Wind whispered through the towering oak trees. And deep inside a cozy little dray, a tiny black squirrel waited for morning. When the first rays of sunlight finally appeared, he slowly opened his eyes. The storm was gone. The world was quiet. Curious, he adjusted his glasses and peeked outside. The forest looked different. Not bad, just different. As if someone had quietly rearranged the world while everyone was sleeping. The squirrel climbed down from his oak tree and stretched his tiny paws. The air smelled fresh. Cool droplets still clung to the leaves. Everything seemed to sparkle. He remembered why he had come outside. He needed acorns. After all, a squirrel could never have too many acorns. With a determined nod, he set off into the forest. But before he could begin searching, something caught his attention. A family of birds was busy rebuilding their nest. Twigs passed from one tiny beak to another, working together piece by piece. Not far away, a little mouse stood atop a mushroom cottage. The storm had damaged part of her roof, yet she hummed cheerfully as she repaired it. Nearby, a spider carefully connected silk threads between two branches, patiently rebuilding its web one strand at a time. The squirrel paused. Nobody seemed upset. Nobody complained about the storm. Everyone simply continued. Building, helping, beginning again. He smiled and continued on his way. Soon he reached a path he had never noticed before. A fallen branch now formed a bridge. Clusters of mushrooms lined the trail. Tiny ferns swayed gently in the breeze. The storm had changed the forest in unexpected ways, and somehow it felt like an invitation. The squirrel followed the unfamiliar path. One step, then another, until he completely forgot about acorns. Everywhere he looked, tiny raindrops hung from leaves like crystal jewels. When sunlight touched them, they shimmered with colors he had never noticed before. Gold, silver, tiny rainbows dancing in the morning air. The forest felt enchanted, as if it had awakened from a dream. The squirrel stopped beside a puddle. Inside it, he could see the entire sky. Clouds drifted across the reflection. Birds flew overhead. For a moment, it felt like two worlds existed at once, one above him and one below. As he wandered deeper into the forest, he discovered small wonders everywhere. A ladybug sailing across a puddle on a tiny leaf. Butterflies drying their wings in the sunlight. Drops of water balancing perfectly on blades of grass. The kind of things that had probably always been there, but somehow seemed easier to notice today. The squirrel realized something. The storm hadn't taken away the forest. It had revealed it. Eventually, he stopped and looked around. The familiar trail was nowhere to be seen. The forest suddenly felt much larger than before. Had he wandered too far? For the first time that morning, he felt a little nervous. Just then, a beam of sunlight broke through the trees. The light touched a line of sparkling raindrops along the ground, one after another, like tiny lanterns guiding the way. The squirrel took a deep breath and followed them, across fallen logs, past patches of wildflowers, through tall ferns still covered in dew. He followed the shimmering trail until something familiar appeared in the distance. His oak tree. Home. Relieved, the squirrel laughed. And that's when he noticed it. Resting beneath a leaf near the base of the tree was a single acorn, perfectly dry, perfectly round, waiting quietly all along. The squirrel picked it up and smiled. He had spent the entire morning searching for acorns, yet the one he needed had been close to home the whole time. As the sun climbed higher, he returned to his cozy dray. The acorn found a place on his shelf. Outside, birds continued rebuilding. The little mouse repaired her roof. The spider finished its web, and the forest sparkled beneath the morning light. The squirrel settled beside his window and watched the world below. Warm, safe, grateful. Maybe the storm had changed the forest. But perhaps the most important change was something else. Maybe it had reminded him to slow down, to notice the beauty hidden in ordinary moments, and to remember that after every storm, there is always something wonderful waiting to be found. And somewhere in the forest, one very happy squirrel enjoyed the rest of his morning. The end. Thank you for watching my videos. Please like and subscribe to support my channel. Stay tuned for more.